Welcome back to episode 2 of Crunch Time with Ken and Mel. As always, I am Ken Straub, more than happy to be joined by my man Mel. Mel, welcome in.
What's happening? What's happening? It's game day, baby. As you can see, I got my crutch on. It's time to get it going, man. Let's get the game going.
Got my official match ball up on the shelf, man. You already know I'm ready. Yes,
Let's
as
do
Mel
this. Let's
said,
do this.
it is week 1 for the Cleveland Crunch. Their season opener today at 2 o'clock as they travel to Grand Rapids to take on Grand Rapids. The Crunch, like I said, they're starting their first game, but Grand Rapids has already played a game. So the Crunch go in to play someone who's already kind of rolling in their season, Mel. Grand Rapids won 25-2 earlier in the season. Man.
Yeah, you know what? It's weird that the season starts this early. You know, I don't. It's not uncommon. Let's start
No.
there. It's not uncommon, but it is weird to see the season start early. They did this last year where the crunch started in December on the road against Cincinnati, and then they were on the road for 4 straight games before that big home opener. And because that kind of threw everything off, I think the Crunch decided to just say, hey, let's put this in perspective and let's get started after the new year. And that way we can just keep the momentum going, which is a great idea by Coach Manfoot and the organization as a whole. So
I
I'm
mean, yeah,
excited.
you look at you can look at the standings. Omaha has played 4 games already. As we said, Grand Rapids 1, Chicago 1, Colorado 3. Then those teams have to go into a break. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree. And sorry, breaks are not always great. Breaks are not always good.
The
So
only
that's
the only
definitely.
time breaks are good is in football because you need that bye week to heal up bruised bones, broken fingers, jammed body parts, you know.
And as a former soccer player myself, we like rest, but man, that freshness of being as sharp as you are on the field and taking that right into a game is nothing beats that. So
And it
yeah,
showed not to cut you off, but
but
it showed last year because that break in between kind of hurt a couple teams going down the stretch as far as playoffs were concerned. Chicago did not look the same. Omaha did not look the same going into the playoffs, but they ended up being in the championship, I believe. But they still kind of started off slow, so you have to be aware that this break may not always be a good thing or a bad thing, but you got to be wary of it.
Absolutely. And I also that also kind of puts in perspective for the Crunch this first game. You're starting fresh. You're playing against a team that it's already kind of gotten its foot down. Now, I do want to say I did break down some tape, Mel. I've spent all morning and last night watching Grand Rapids first game. Of
As
course,
did
I
I.
did. Of course, listen, I'm a nerd. You give me a soccer game to watch, and I'm going to watch it. One of the things that I was impressed with, I mean, going into indoor soccer, I played a lot of indoor soccer, nowhere near on a level of the Cleveland Crunch. I'm not going to be that guy right now. But I did play a lot of outdoor soccer in college. The game is just shrunken down, but the game is basically the same thing. It's possession and chances. When you have possession, you're going to have chances, and you've got to take advantage of those chances. Grand Rapids
Mhm.
did that. They move the ball very well. They're strong on the ball, and they take advantage of their opportunities. 25 goals for, 2 against. So clearly, they are in control of the ball. But the Cleveland Crunch are going to be that as well. They're going to be in control of the ball. They're going to move the ball just as well. So this is a good game. This is going to be a game of 2 powerful teams with a lot of class and quality on the field.
Well, let's put this into perspective first, okay? And I'm not taking anything away from Grand Rapids. The Grand Rapids are coming in as the MLIS defending champ from 2022 or 2023 rather. But let's be honest about this. Ohio Extreme is an expansion team.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna look sloppy. They're gonna look a little behind the curve. That's nothing against the extreme. I'm sure they'll pick it up and get it together.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going into a new league. You're the expansion team, and your first game is the defending champs. I equivalate this to you know the Browns when they joined the NFL after the AAFC dissolved, and all of a sudden they schedule you against the Eagles
You're
and
like,
because they think you're not going to hold up and you're going to fold midway through the season. I don't think the extreme is going to do that,
mm-mm.
but at the same time, they
I
set you up. Your first game is against the defending champ. It's kind of
I
an
really
unfair
I love that.
situation.
I absolutely love that example. Imagine a new expansion team coming into the NFL and their first opening schedule, they have to play the Ravens and then the Bills and then the Chiefs, and just playing every top team. It would be awful.
It's not fair. It's
It's
not
it's
fair.
not. So and you know what? The Crunch can also use that to their advantage. They're going to be, like we said, no disrespect to the Ohio Extreme, but the Crunch are a different animal. The Crunch are a different breed. The Crunch are a different team. They're a team with championship expectations. Ohio Extreme, they want to compete this year. They want to be competitive on the field, not be disrespected. The Crunch want to add a star. This is championship or nothing here for the
Of
Cleveland Crunch.
course.
So the
You see them stars,
absolutely
baby. You see them stars.
fifth star on its way. This is going to be a step up in competition. So Grand Rapids knows, and we're not. This is no secret. They know coming into today, this is not going to be the same game.
Let's look at reality. They don't like us. We don't like them. It's not. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, and it all stems back to you know last year. The Crunch actually lost the division at home against Grand Rapids, and Grand Rapids left a sour taste in anybody's mouth because reality was they got a lot of calls their way. Like a lot of calls should not have been the way that they were. The refs let it play on. We lost an important player in the last part of the game, which I thought was unfair. And Grand Rapids left Cleveland that day really a-hole like they flipped off some of the fans even though they don't want to admit it. It's on camera.
Hmm.
It's not like the game wasn't streamed. We all saw it.
Hmm.
They disrespected Cleveland fans. Our Cleveland fans have never, shout out to the Crunch fans, we've never disrespected anybody coming into the house, especially Chicago, because we hate Chicago. But with Grand Rapids is different. They got everything to go their way. And the problem that bugs me is the refs know this. Like if you go back and look at those games were totally different leading up to that game. Yeah, they won one at home. They come to the IX Center and get their doors blown off. And then you come here, you get a couple calls your way, and you end up winning by one.
Yeah,
I am pretty sure, I'm almost 100% certain the Crunch are coming into this game with bad intentions. And I don't mean
um,
that in a bad way, but when
yes,
the
I
Crunch
know.
come into a game with bad intentions, the score don't look like you think it's gonna look.
Absolutely. And first of all, and Cleveland born and raised. Okay, of course, Mel. We have the best fans in the world, and I'm going to
Mhm.
be biased here. But Crunch fans are great. No, they are coming in with bad intentions and bad soccer intentions, bad football intentions is exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, for sure. There's no chance that those players who have carried over don't carry that chip, don't remember that game, don't remember exactly how it went down. So, absolutely, when they go into this game, there's going to be, I don't want to say revenge, but yeah, there's a long season ahead. But you know what the best way to do that is? Starting off with a win against the team that took you out last year.
Oh
That
yeah.
is the exact way to start your revenge season for the fifth star.
And that's the best way to do it because they think that they're just gonna come into this league and run it over again, and that's not the case. You had prob If you really look at the season, the way the season played out for every team in the league, Chicago gave Grand Rapids problems.
Mhm.
Cleveland gave Grand Rapids problems. Cleveland blew the doors off of Grand Rapids. Omaha even gave Grand Rapids problems. So it's not like this is going to be a cakewalk, especially when you come to Cleveland. You don't know anything about playing in Cleveland in any sport. Cleveland is one of the toughest places to play in all of sports. Now, think about the time they got to come in here and play the Crunch. You got to come into the soccerplex. It's already loud,
Mhm.
but now there's increased seating this year. So
Yes, I've
not only is it going to be loud, it's going to be deafening.
I got
They're
to
going to have
I've played
issues.
there. I've played there before. The place is loud. I've played and coached there. It is impossible when a normal seating facility, and I'm talking kids, it's impossible to get through to your players and talk.
Yeah.
Now add adults and add an atmosphere like this is going to be, and yeah, it's bananas. It's amazing. Listen, if you like soccer, this is scenes. This is what you're supposed to go and see.
And this is going to be the most awesome place to play this year. I can't wait. But I am excited to see the Crunch finally back on in the pitch as you guys call it, for the 2024 season because as again, I want that fifth star just like they do.
Man,
And not only do I want the fifth star, I want this one because unfortunately we lost our original owner, George
mhm,
Hoffman, before the
yes.
season started. So this is he's looking down and there's no expectations from him. He's just looking down like I know y'all gonna pull it off.
Absolutely. And listen, we talked about it in episode 1. There are championship expectations for the Crunch. We talked to Luciano, we talked to Ryan, we talked to Coach Manfoot. It's championship time. It is they want to add a star. They want to be there in the end. So I guess I have that question for you, Mel. We talked to Coach Manfoot. He's a brand new coach. It's his first year as a coach. He's getting the players in. We've been at a couple practices. We've been able to see how they work. How important is it to not necessarily go into this first game with a brand new season and a brand new coach and base the whole season off of this result?
It's very important because it's this as much as you want to just stick it in the face of Grand Rapids, it's still one game. It's not
Exactly.
just it's not the championship just yet. And I got a feeling you end up this might I'm gonna call it. I'm not even gonna say I got a feeling. I'm gonna call it. This is gonna be the championship this year. Grand Rapids versus Cleveland in Cleveland.
I like it. I like it. And
And I could be wrong. It could be a neutral site, but I'm if my money had to go somewhere, it's going to be Grand Rapids versus Cleveland in Cleveland. But with that, you don't want to base this one game as the entire season because we see what that does to teams. You look at Florida State; they went 6-4 against the SEC, win against the SEC in the Orange Bowl. They
not
got
great.
violated.
It was not pretty.
They got violated. You look at anybody that's beaten Kansas City this year, they're not in the playoffs. Everybody that's beaten Kansas City in Kansas City or beaten Kansas City, period, is not in the playoffs this year in the NFL. So you can't base this game and think it's a championship, but it does create it creates the momentum and the snowball effect for the momentum that's going to come behind it because
Mhm.
I'm going to pull up the schedule for us a bit because
Good.
when you look at it, once you beat Rapid City, or if you're able to beat Rapid City in Rapid City today, guess
Good.
what? Your next 3 games are at home versus the Extreme and versus Grand or Rapid City.
Again, yeah, right. If you have a possibility to turn around and have a 3-0 start going into that game, that second matchup with Grand Rapids, and of course, I think the most important thing for the Crunch today, obviously, they want to win.
Mhm.
We're not
Of course,
sugarcoating a thing here, but
of course,
it's sports. Things happen. The
they do.
most important thing for the Crunch today is to walk out there with a brand new coach and go, "We're still the same Crunch."
And I
This is
and I'm glad
that
you
that
brought
is
that
the
up.
most. So that doesn't necessarily mean walking out with a win. That means we're here, we're gonna compete, and you're gonna see us every time, and you're gonna see us at the end of the year. I
And
think
looking
that
at
is the most important part from Coach Manfoot today.
practice, the times that we were there, it's pretty much the same team from last year. A
Mhm,
few, not a lot, but a few new faces, and the rest are coming back. Beck, Admir, Sveko, Mikey Durzich, Blackwood, McCain, I'm missing Sarambidis, Parker.
mhm,
These guys know what it takes to be in the playoffs, and you know that's what makes it a great team because there's not a lot of turnover. It's usually
right.
more often than not the same team coming back, and
And a
it's
lot
it's
and I don't mean to cut you off, but a lot of time in sports, Mel, when you have the team ready, sometimes just a little change at the top is all a team needs. And I'm now this is my first year of working with the Crunch. Obviously, you were here last year with the guys and years before. When I walked into that first practice, I was like, whoa, okay.
oh, you could feel it. You could
This
feel
is
it.
not and I joked with you because I got the goosebumps when they were warming up. As a soccer player myself, when you see another team warming up, you're like, "Hey man, I could kick a ball too." And then they started to practice, and I took a step back and went, "Whoa, these guys are ready to go. We're not joking around. There's not a play atmosphere during practice. Guys walk in the door, business like and ready to go." And I know every team will say that, but it's not true. It's not. We know that. Mel played semi-pro. I played on a college level. We know for a fact not every person and not every team walks in to the facility to practice to a game business-like and ready to go. I haven't walked in there once and saw a crunch player or a coach or an executive or anyone not ready and locked in.
Oh yeah. And the good thing about this is with Coach Manfoot, it's been to the point where you see his philosophy. Yeah, this is your first year. So when
Yeah.
Coach Lou was here, it was all defense. We're gonna make them earn every point that they get. With Coach Dargle, it was we got to be on the attack to a degree. We're gonna be on the attack, but we're still gonna play defense. With Coach Manfoot, it was more of I'm gonna throw this at you and you see how you respond to it. And once you
Mhm.
respond to that, I got something else for you. So, you know, this philosophy that he's thrown out there to me as a player, it's scary. And the reason it's scary is because although this is Coach Manfoot's first year
Mhm.
as a coach, he has been in the game a long time.
He absolutely has.
And he's
We
brought everything that he's learned or played with or just whatever philosophy he's learned along the way, he's brought it with him. And it's like, dude, this is going to be scary for whoever lines up against the crunch.
Absolutely. And I have some stats for you just and this is Coach Manfoot. So this is who you brought in. And now not all players translate to coaching. We can already see that Coach Manfoot has made that transition. 177 career games, 100 goals, 60 assists. And was also a member of the US team that won an IFA Futsal World Championship, a gold medal. Okay. This isn't a joke. This is an accomplished guy. This is an accomplished player who not only knows what it takes to succeed on an individual level, he knows what a team needs to succeed. And yeah, he brought that in week one. It was no joke.
And
Literally,
that's
we tried to talk to a couple players week one, and the only
and
player we
couldn't.
could get, and the only player we were allowed to talk to was somebody who wasn't practicing because he was recovering. That is it, okay? Because coach was locked in, and all these guys are in. This is good. It's an important day for the crunch. This is going to be a fun day for the crunch, I think, and I truly believe this because I now that I am here, I went back last year. I've watched some of the games. You're going to see some of the most entertaining and attacking forward football that you've seen the crunch play in a while. I
And the,
truly believe that.
and the best part about this is you see the smiles on their faces during practice. How many players do you see in any sport smiling during practice? You might see it from the Browns nowadays because they're in the
Mhm.
playoffs, but to see consistent smiles on the faces of every crunch player and then
Mhm.
to look over and see Luciano and Ryan smiling, I'm a
Right.
little nervous. To
Right.
be honest.
And the rest of listen, I'll pull it back up real quick. Grand Rapids, Ohio City, Colorado, Chicago, Omaha. You might want to be scared as well. I'm not gonna lie, okay? Because yeah, this is from top down, and we talked about it in episode one, from the top to the bottom, okay? And I don't mean bottom in a disrespectful way. From the very top of Luciano to the players and coaches, it's one goal, it's one mission. We are focused and we are locked in. And I know I'm repeating myself a bit there, but
You
it's
know what?
worth
I want to
saying.
I want to go back to this because I
Yeah.
I I got a discrepancy with the league about this because you literally took one of the best rivalries away from us. We get Chicago on March 9th, but we only get one with Chicago. Like, how do you chip
Yeah.
us of the rivalry, man? Like,
Right.
come on. I'm not mad that we don't. I'm mad that we only play Chicago one time because those games are entertaining, especially
Absolutely.
when you go to Chicago and you get the dual language barrier, the dual language broadcast. That is so awesome. But no matter what, I'm riding with the crunch, and like I said, I'm calling it Grand Rapids Cleveland Championship in Cleveland.
I like it. I mean, what is
Book
that?
it.
That last one there, April 7th. I know it's away, but that'll be a very important one. Hopefully, the Crunch will be bringing me a late birthday present there with a nice dub.
Hey,
A couple days after my
yeah,
birthday.
it'll be an early birthday present for me. I'm in June,
Oh,
and
there you go.
it's weird because now instead of going from 12, it's still 12 games, but
Mhm.
the season runs a little shorter. I'm kind of disappointed in that, not gonna lie, but I'll take it because the season starts today, and
Right.
from here on, there is no real break because
Nope.
when you look at the transition from the MASL to the MLIS, there were some breaks in between with the MASL, and I didn't like that because for team momentum, it didn't kill it, but it kind of slowed them down.
Yeah.
And they get to the championship, and it's like, come on, bro, come on, you got to
Yeah.
give us something.
Yeah, you're trying to
And
trying to pick. Yeah, good morning. Trying to pick back up. No, I agree. No, I'm with you there. This, like I said, when we keep going back and forth to it, but literally, there's a break in there between January, but for the most part, you are locked in week after week after week. So don't worry about it. If you do miss a game, we got you covered. Okay, we will do some rewinds. We will be doing stuff. We'll be trying to talk to coach a couple more times throughout the season as well. So that is definitely something to look forward to. Well, Mel. Game one today at 2 o'clock. I'm gonna put you a
yeah,
little bit. I'm gonna put you on the hot seat just a little bit, and then you can toss it right back to me. How do you think today goes for the Cleveland Crunch?
I was gonna save this till the end of the show, but since you put me on the spot, I'm gonna say 10-8 in
Ooh,
favor of the Crunch. Your Crunch go on a power, get a couple power play goals, and for those watching and those new to the sport, those power play goals are important. This is indoor soccer with the hockey element. So when you get a blue card, it's not a red, it is a red card, but it's strictly blue cards. But when you get a blue card, when you get a red cards obviously mean ejections. I'm going with Mama. Mama thinks they win too. Shout out to Mom.
of
But
course, Mama. Of
you
course, Mama.
know, it's still the element that we're not at home just yet. But I want to say it's 10-8. We get the power play goals we need because if you go back and watch these games from last year to now, they didn't have to do it as much against the Extreme because again, the Extreme was a new team. They're still finding their footing, but they didn't have to play as physical. And when you play a crunch in a physical game, you get tired out. So
Mm-hmm.
I hope because they played the Extreme, I'm gonna count the Extreme as a tune-up game. I'm just gonna be honest. You always
Yeah.
treat the expansion teams like tune-up games. So when you played the Extreme, you weren't as physical as you have been in the past with the Crunch. And I think the fact that Coach Manfoot himself was a physical player, I'm expecting a lot of physicality from the Crunch. I'm also expecting a lot of defense, a lot of pick and roll plays, as you would call them in basketball. I have to assume those are there. And my biggest question, as far as a fan going into the game, is the line situation. Is the line situation going to be defensive starting out, or is it going to be a mix of both? Are you going to mix the players up? We got attackers here, we got defense here. Whatever the case is, I'm still expecting the Crunch to pull it out because the Crunch have only lost 7 games since they returned in 2021.
Right.
That speaks volumes. You've lost 7 games in 3 years, one championship, two championship appearances. I'm not expecting anything less from this team. So I'm gonna
Right.
say here, I'll just throw some stats out.
Come on.
We
Give them
mentioned
to me.
all the return. We mentioned all the returning players. Admir Suljovic, 48 points last year, led the league, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, he damn near led the league in assists. If not, we at least one of those guys. You you don't even see him on the field. Uh, and then 4 games. That's Hector Marinero-ish right there. Shout out to Coach Hector.
Catch ball today, but I almost brought out the Hector ball. I'm not gonna lie.
And defensively, I got to throw this out too because this is important. The
Mhm.
captain, Dave Jordan, 8 blocked opponent shots last year, so he knows how to play defense.
Blocking
I'm not.
shot blocking is very important in indoor soccer. The shots come
Yes,
in from a quicker distance. You're closed in. Mel, this is so. I should have said this to you, and I apologize. I threw you through the prediction rather than how the team should kind of play today. Physical, the 100%. I think I like you said, line. How is the line going to set up? I have a feeling that we're going to see a very attack and press minded starting lineup. I think they're going to want to jump on Grand Rapids very early, let them know this is not the expansion Ohio Extreme. This is the Cleveland Crunch. Remember us. And I think you're going to want to go right at them early on. I I have a different prediction. I have a feeling this might not be close. I'm not going to lie.
really.
I really do. And I don't think that this is going to be a microcosm for the whole season. I think there will be some close games. But with all of the momentum, a new coach, a new philosophy locked in, like have been talking about this entire episode, and you can go back and watch the first episode and you can see it and hear it locked in from top down. Grand
Interesting.
Rapids, Grand Rapids, you just took out an Ohio Extreme expansion team. Okay. So you're riding high. Your quality of play, you think it is here. I think the Crunch are going to come in. And I think at that beginning, in that opening couple of minutes, I think they might blitz Grand Rapids. And I think they might get ahead. And I think this honestly turns into a 15-10, maybe a 13-8. I think it's a 4 to 5 goal margin. I really truly believe that.
That is you know what?
And
I'm
not
I'm
and like I said, and I
mm,
and I don't think a close game, or even a loss for the Crunch. I don't think that is season ending at all.
it's not.
I really think the momentum is there and the quality and the coaching is there. I've been there. I'm watching it myself. You know what I mean? We have seen it. So for that, I'm not. This is not a homer pick. I don't make homer picks when it comes to soccer. I don't. I watched it and I love this game too much. But what I watched from Grand Rapids in a game compared to what I watched from the Cleveland Crunch just at practice, the intensity levels are not equal right now.
And that might be true because, like I said, when we watched the Grand Rapids Extreme game, they didn't have to play as physical, which is true. But I always have to factor, I don't care what sport it is, and folks at home know this, the Crunch fans know this, especially in indoor soccer, you have to factor in the home field advantage. As we said, the refs we watched it last night, and as smooth as they were,
Yeah.
the refs even let a few calls go against the extreme. Like I saw plenty of refs going, no, it's okay,
Yeah.
spreading his arms out saying let him play. I just have to factor that in because and any arena that the Crunch have played in, there's always been at least one call that gives the advantage to the home team when the Crunch are on the road. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to myself and say, okay, the Crunch got this outright. No, I have to know where we're playing. We're playing in Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids has not been kind to the Crunch, but I still see the Crunch pulling it out because this is how they do things.
Like I said, we're both in agreement in terms of a W today for the Crunch. I think we slightly disagree on that. And honestly, you might be closer, especially with a first game. I'm bought in. I am 100% bought in. But so before we do wrap things up here, Mel, I want to throw that schedule back in. So let me put you on the spot for another question, Mel, real quick, because I'm gonna give you my answer as well. So obviously, we say that Cleveland Crunch, Rapid City FC, they're going to be the two teams that are going to meet in the finals. Who for you is going to be the sneakiest team to watch here between the rest of the teams in the MILIS?
Honestly, it's two. It's in it, and I see them right there. Once in the first half of the schedule, and then the other team is on the second half of the schedule. So the first sneaky team I have to say is Colorado. Reason being, you got to go to Colorado. You have to go to Colorado. And the Crunch have not been to Colorado in years. All
Yeah.
right. Have not been to Colorado in years. The second one is obviously Chicago. It's obviously Chicago. Sonic, one of the most hated players in all of indoor soccer, not because he's a dirty guy. He's that sneaky player. He's that player that you just know is going to put 2, 3 goals in the net and he's going to laugh about it. He's one of the fastest players in indoor soccer that we know of, that we've done our research on. So to me, it's Colorado, going to Colorado because you said you haven't been to Colorado in decades. And
Right.
then you got Chicago. Chicago's always the toughest team on the schedule outside of Grand Rapids for the last 2 years.
Hmm.
And then you got to go, they come here, thankfully, because we all know Chicago's a tough place to play. Grand Sports Arena, n- you know, it's a small, intimate arena, and we ain't got to go there. So Chicago, Colorado,
Yeah.
those are the most intriguing games on the schedule for me.
Now, I want to point this out because we have talked about them and we were not trying to be disrespectful in any way, but they are an expansion team. So sometimes the results are going to be what they are. How awesome is it to have an Ohio Derby? How awesome is it to have another team from Ohio here that the Crunch can compete with? I know they're not going to be competing for a championship this year. That's fine. But it also is good to have another team in Ohio playing on a professional level like this. So
Well,
I'm glad.
let's look at reality here. Unfortunately for this, for most of us, the Cincinnati Swerve are no longer in the league.
Right.
No, no, that's just something we got to deal with. But if we're looking at this realistically, the Crunch have dominated Ohio. It's there's no other way to say it. The Crunch have literally dominated Ohio. Anytime an Ohio team has come in, they've dominated. The Crunch only lost, I believe, one game to Cincinnati in the 2 years that they played them.
Yeah, it was
One or 2 years.
when I was looking through it was not pretty, but
Yeah,
it's still good to have another team in Ohio. As a soccer guy myself, the Crunch is all we've had for the longest time, and I love
and,
the
I,
Crunch. I'm
and
a
as much
lifelong fan, but it's good to have soccer booming and getting more teams going.
as I love to see the other Ohio team being the extreme, whether it's the Swerve or the extreme being in the league, the result might just be the same, just because the Crunch have had it in their head. We
They're the
run Ohio,
and they're the brand. If you want to play soccer in Ohio, you're playing for the Crunch. If you're playing indoor
and
soccer in Ohio, you're playing for the Crunch.
and dare I say, this is one of those this year, I believe, looking at this team on the outside looking in, this is one of those teams that's out for blood. And it's like I said, you see smiles on them while they're practicing. You don't see smiles after practice or before practice. They were smiling the entire way. From the time that they walked into the door
And
to the
and
time they got on the field, they were smiling. That's
And
creepy.
before somebody tries to question, oh, well, they joke. No, there's not jokes,
There-
man.
There's
It's
no
not
jokes. They
jokes.
were just smiling.
It's locked in, man. These guys are having fun, but these guys are ready to go. Like I said, the hardest thing we had to do during episode one was try to talk to everybody during practice because everyone's locked in. Like we said, from Luciano down to Ryan, down to Coach Manfoot to all of the players, everyone is locked in this year. So we want to wish good luck to the Cleveland Crunch. Like I said, they're already down there. That game time is at 2 o'clock. Make sure that you tune in, clevelandcrunch.com, MIMLIS.com as well.
Oh,
And
don't forget, uh, the home game was next week, January
yes,
13th. So if you plan on making it to that home game, we advise you get your tickets now at the clevelandcrunch.com/tickets because they are going fast. And I guarantee you, it's everybody's getting season tickets now. So those single game tickets are not going to stay there for long. So get your
absolutely.
tickets now. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. The extreme gonna have problems on their hands.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, it's not, and I will be there as well, being loud and crazy myself. I'm gonna be in the section. I'm gonna be leading some cheers. All right, we're
Bailey,
gonna
you are absolutely right because Mikey is since Bailey broke it off or brought it up, excuse me, since Bailey brought it up, Bailey, you know just as well as we do, Mikey is not the player you want to piss off on the field because every time you piss off Mikey Durzich, he scores a goal. He scores a goal. Sometimes two.
absolutely, absolutely. Kickoff is at 1.
Oh, kickoff is at one.
My
This is the
apologies.
home field advantage we were talking about.
Right.
Kickoff was supposed to be at two. They move it up to one. They want to catch the Crunch off guard. This is the type of stuff you see as a player. I can remember going to games and something weird just happens at the stadium, at the arena. You know what? Try all you want, Rapid City. This is gonna be Coach Manfoot. Go
He's
Crunch.
gonna
Just go
boys
Crunch.
boys boys will be ready. Manfoot will be ready. They're all ready to go. Well,
This is what we talk about, man.
absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for jumping in and being with us for crunch time. We had an absolute great time talking about this, getting ready for this first game with you. While you guys are all here, don't be afraid because you're watching us on YouTube and Facebook to jump over to the 216 Sports Network, where you will find 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth, the Jay Rich Show, Rico McGee with the Rulers Minute, Outside Interference with Mel, and the Straw Bro Sports Show featuring me. Uh, Mel, anything else for the people?
Yeah, like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube so you don't miss any of the content we're providing for you. We will be covering the crunch all season long, whether it's through remote or we're at the stadium ourselves. We will be there. We got you covered.
Absolutely. Real quick, I also want to make a good point because you had said it earlier. Especially this season, we want to give a special rest in peace to George Hoffman, the original owner of the Crunch. A very special season for the Crunch this year. With that going on, rocking with the boys. Mama already knows. Thank you, everybody, for
Shout
being a
out to
part.
Mama.
Absolutely. And we will see you next time on Crunch Time with Ken and Mel. City.